What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. Dr. Jaws here, and big announcement for tonight. And I'm really excited, both with the shark that we're covering, and then also just kind of like a big thing in my personal life that I'd like to share with you. But tonight is the Oceanic Whitetip Shark. Carcharhinus longimanus, the infamous oceanic whitetip shark. Perfect shark for tonight. Hey, Howard, welcome back. Good evening to you too. Hope you had a great weekend. Yeah, this is a really awesome species to be covering for a lot of different reasons. Hey, Minges, welcome back. Welcome back. This one is one of the most. I usually don't like sensationalism as far as like sharks or shark attacks or things like that, but this one is the most infamous. It's one of the most infamous sharks. It's right up there with the white shark, the bull shark, the tiger shark. But of the four. It's or of those other of the group of four fatal sharks, or four very dangerous sharks. This one doesn't really get a lot of coverage. So from that standpoint, it's a very interesting species to discuss. But also conservation-wise, it's a critically endangered species. So this shark is in need of a lot of help given its life habits. So we'll get into that in a little bit. First, I do want to shout out to Howard for providing a really beautiful piece of art of the oceanic whitetip. This is one of my favorites that you've ever done, Howard, especially for this year. I really love this. So this is Carcharhinus longimanus. Three of them with three accompanying pilotfish. There's a lot of great details in this that I really like. But one of them is the pilotfish, those striped fish that you have here as well. These are famous companions of oceanic whitetip sharks. They cruise with the sharks, and they're there kind of like as protection. These fish like to be with the sharks where they get scraps of food that are left over from the shark's meal. And you know, it's kind of funny. It's like Lord of the Rings. I think Merry and Pippin say the closer we are to danger, the further we are from harm. So it's like these fish kind of play that strategy, which is really fun. So. And it's a great survival strategy. These fish are often associated with a lot of different kinds of sharks, but especially oceanic whitetips. Howard, I love that you captured the broad pectoral fins and like that classic like rounded shape. These sharks have a very unusual dorsal fin and pectoral fin, as far as kind of having like a rounded or like a paddle shape. We'll see a lot of clips of this species tonight too. So and finally, I really love the USS Indianapolis detail. Because this is a famous incident, and this was a real life incident. So I don't want to like over sensationalize it out of respect for people who have been on that ship. But this was a famous shipwreck or in the Pacific Ocean. I forget specifically where, but this was during World War II. Where the USS Indianapolis started to sink, and the survivors were in the water, and many of them were experiencing harassment by sharks, and eventually actually suffered from shark attack. And it's not confirmed what species it is, but it's most likely this species. Just because oceanic whitetip sharks, they're really the only dangerous shark species that is known to roam the open sea and hone in on shipwrecks in the middle of nowhere. It's this species, because bull sharks and tiger sharks and white sharks, they're a lot more coastal. This one is really more of like an open ocean predator. So it was most likely this species, but it's a really horrific event, made famous by the movie Jaws, and I guess the novel Jaws as well. There's a really great scene in the Steven Spielberg movie where they're talking about the Indianapolis. Unfortunately, that movie is about a great white shark, and it's kind of like there's things in that particular scene that are wrong, because they're talking about like how a great white shark's eye rolls back into its head, but oceanic whitetips are carchariniform, so they actually have like the nictitating membrane, like the eyelid thing that kind of protects their eye. So little different. So Howard, I learned about the RMS Nova Scotia while doing this, eerily similar to the Annapolis. Oh my gosh, interesting. I don't know the story about that actually. I'm curious to learn about it. But overall, this is a beautiful piece of art. I also love how you do the yellow lighting, Howard. This is really cool. Seeing just like the yellow on the back and the fins and the sides of these individual sharks. And also finally, great great underside profile of the jaw. That looks really, really cool. So, man, this is awesome. It's one of my favorites. Thank you so much for submitting it. And thank you. This is really, really great. So, I think. Whoop, sorry. But we've got a lot of cool footage to review. But I think before we do that, I'll share kind of like the big announcement. And I think you guys, if you saw that on the community page, I left a little shark with a top hat. And I'm really excited. I'm a little nervous actually sharing this, but I'm really, really excited about this. So I won't go into a lot of details intentionally, just for privacy reasons. And I think the best way to explain that is, I keep talking about Lord of the Rings, but the director of Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson, has had a really cool system with his partner, Fran Walsh, I think is his wife, where they both wrote the screenplay for Lord of the Rings, but Peter Jackson, by being the director, he was like the front person, like the showman, like kind of like the public face, and then Fran was private, like never did interviews. It's very rare to see her in anything, and that was something that they did intentionally, kind of for their relationship and kind of making sure that everything is balanced. So in that kind of same line of thinking, I don't really talk about my girlfriend too specifically, and I don't share pictures or anything, just because it's like I do want to keep that balance as well. However, I do mention her quite often on the stream, especially with goofy things. And since I do refer to her, I think it's important to kind of let the stream know that she's now my fiance. So I proposed last weekend, and she said yes, so we are engaged. So from here on out, it's gonna be I'll just share dumb anecdotes about my fiance. So that's the big news. Privately, I'm intentionally drinking out of a Virginia heart mug tonight, which is also a mug that my fiance got for me, which is very sweet of her. But yeah, so Dr. Jaws is engaged. So that's the news. So and I feel it's like necessary too, because I will just keep saying fiance from here on out. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Really, really excited. She's been amazing. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before. She has watched every stream. She never joins the chat. She's very quiet. But she does watch every single stream, pretty much. Like there's like one or two she may miss, but I really appreciate the dedication and just the support. So she's a lovely person, and I love her, and I'm very, very happy. So there we go. That's the news. So thank you guys. I'm gonna star these comments. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And I'm also really excited because she particularly likes this species, and I feel like this is a great one to cover. It's like a good, all sharks are great, but this is like a good special occasion species. So with that, let's get started on the Oceanic Whitetip Shark. Here we go. So the clips I've found are very interesting. I've also found a lot of cool papers about this species. One in particular that I do want to zero in on, just in case we run out of time, is a Oceanic Whitetip shark, an individual shark that had become too accustomed to diver ecotourism. Oh, this is a great shot of the pilotfish, by the way. So this is exactly what Howard captured in his beautiful piece of art. These are the little fish that accompany oceanic whitetips as they roam the open sea. There's an interesting individual oceanic whitetip shark that is part of an ecotourism operation. Like it's gotten very accustomed to divers, and it's actually started attacking them, which I think there's a couple clips. I was trying to find them on YouTube. There's a couple clips that describe shark attack from the species. I couldn't find anything, but here's one that's clearly very curious in this diver and what he's doing, which is pretty wild to see. This is a very bold species. A lot of sharks are shy. For the scuba diving community, it's common knowledge that sharks leave you alone for the most part. They don't really bother you, but you can clearly see that this particular species is very, very interested in this diver's fins, and he's making very close passes. So pretty interesting. And I just saw the caption "Fight with an aggressive Longimanus shark." This is from barracuda.eu, which is a really cool clip. So I'm liking and subscribing. But usually that kind of language I would say is kind of sensationalist, but I actually agree with the video clip. This is definitely at least a very curious individual shark, but it's definitely taken an interest in the fins of these divers, and that's very scary. The teeth on oceanic whitetip sharks are proportionally the largest of, or some of the largest of any shark species. It shares that characteristic with white sharks, tigers, bull sharks. It's very unusual to have like the huge triangular serrated teeth. It sounds strange because that's the popular image in culture, but really that kind of tooth type is not common in the shark world, and so these are uniquely opportunistic feeding predators. Like they're uniquely adapted to handle a wide variety of prey in their jaws, and that makes them very dangerous because they can handle marine mammals. A lot of sharks can't do that; they just eat fish. But this particular group can actually hunt marine mammals. So. So I would be nervous if I was diving and I had oceanic whitetips around me. There are successful dive ecotourism operations, but nope, no ads. But I'd be very, very nervous. So, I love that. Thank you, Minjas. I love that comment. Oh my gosh, thank you. Hold on, I'm gonna take a little picture of that. Sorry, that was really cute. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I do want to pivot to, before we watch the next clip, the Sharks Are Raised website by Andy Merck. Gorgeous photograph of the species, by the way. I do want to pivot to just dive notes before we look at other clips to see if there's any insights that they provide. But you can see in this particular photograph just this gorgeous pattern, this gorgeous, I love like the rough look on this shark where it almost looks like their fins are dipped in white paint, because you have this like kind of like, I shouldn't say speckling, it's like this kind of like slaty gray marble color, like this like granite kind of color, and then it almost looks like it's a granite shark like dipped in white. And I think it's such a unique look and such a like beautiful profile. Plus physically, I mean the fins are uniquely rounded. And also, the anal fin has like a black tip as well, so it's just like it's kind of like a really cool shark with a lot of interesting elements going on in its body form. These sharks are extremely cool. It's an extremely cool species. Just aesthetically, it's really, really pretty. There we go. That's a great shot. Also, the second dorsal fin too has these like beautiful black tips. It's kind of interesting to see this. Body plan is pretty compact looking. It's not really a slender shark. It's kind of more, it's kind of interesting seeing like the large pectoral fins and caudal fin. I would assume this is probably an adaptation to help it cruise in the open sea, travel long, large distances. And the reason I say that is another open ocean shark, the blue shark, similarly has large pectoral fins. So I assume, and also blue sharks also have a rounded dorsal fin too. So I wonder if these are adaptations that somehow help it travel in the open sea. So I do want to read, since this website has notes on diving, I do want to read just any insights on that. So here we go. Reaction to divers. Generally shy but may closely investigate divers. Very bold and potentially aggressive in baited situations. Interesting, so that's the official dive note. Although rarely encountered where divers usually go to dive, oceanic whitetips have been implicated in attacks, especially where the use of bait is involved. They have also been implicated in numerous attacks on shipwreck survivors, especially during the Second World War. So that's referencing the Indianapolis. Oh, there it is, the Indianapolis. Much has been written about oceanic whitetips carrying away sailors cast into the sea after the sinking of the USS Indianapolis. However, I'm assuming it's first-hand accounts suggest that the sharks mostly took dead bodies that were floating on the surface rather than attacking the survivors. So that's a new detail. I did not know that before. So it implies kind of more of scavenging behavior, but I did not know that before. Either way, oceanic whitetip sharks should be treated with caution. Diving logistics. Although oceanic whitetips are found in all tropical oceans, they rarely stray close to shore, so sightings are uncommon. Two exceptions are Brothers Reef in Egypt and Cat Island in the Bahamas. At Brothers Reef in the Red Sea, oceanic whitetips are fairly commonly sighted. Officially, there's not chumming allowed there, but some live boards entice the sharks with a fish or two, resulting in sporadic encounters. The sharks have become somewhat habituated, so they often check out dive groups, even if the dive masters have not brought anything to entice them with. Caution, divers have been attacked and killed in this area. Ooh, so this might be what that article... we'll jump to that in a little bit. I do want to look at clips first, but this might be what that article is referencing. This might be the very dive site that an individual white-tip shark has become so accustomed to the divers that it actually might go after them. So we'll keep an eye out for clips from Brothers Reef in the Red Sea. At Cat Island in the Bahamas, 1,000-meter deep water can be found within 1 kilometer from shore, making this an excellent place to encounter oceanic whitetips during April and May, when the sharks congregate near the island to feed on migrating tuna. No dive shops on the island offer trips to see the sharks, but big fish expeditions run multi-day trips each April. The dives are conducted with a bait crate that attracts the sharks. This gives the sharks a focus other than the divers themselves. Like all baited dives, there's still an element of risk, but careful control of the amount of stimuli keeps the sharks from becoming overly excited. Caution, no one has been harmed while diving with oceanic whitetips at Cat Island, but divers should remain extremely vigilant and cautious at all times, especially while on the surface. So that's really freaky, and I do want to take a moment to appreciate Andy's photos, where, he's put himself in a very dangerous situation to capture these images of these beautiful sharks, so I do want to take a moment to appreciate that. This is a really great shot. Love this shot. Really cool angle. And actually, you can kind of see the teeth a little bit. Beautiful speckling on this species. It's just a gorgeous shark all around. And also very scary. This female almost looks potentially pregnant, actually. Interesting. And this one is in Cat Island, Bahamas, so one of the locations where caution is advised. Oh, that's a great one. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. So this is an interesting clip. How not to... Whoop. Sorry, I had the sound on. How not to dive with Longimanus sharks, Elphinstone Reef 2022. Holy music for holy diver notes. Yeah, I have the Skyrim soundtrack on in the background, which I have kind of like more the relaxing music. But I never got very far. I made an eerie doppelganger myself in Skyrim, but he did not get very far, so. Ooh, this is really scary, actually. So this shark is clearly interested in this diver. Here, I'll make this full size, because I'm actually really curious to see what in the world is going on here. So, Elphinstone Reef. Let's see where this is. Elphinstone Reef. Egypt. Okay, so this is in the Red Sea. Okay, so this is a little freaky. Oh, okay. That was an interesting moment where don't know if the shark was agitated, don't know if it was doing kind of like a flare or something, but like flaring its jaws out a little bit, but that was interesting behavior. What's immediately freaky is just look how bold these guys are. These sharks are coming up so close to the divers. Imagine, it's the same kind of thing as if you are in like Alaska and wolves are just walking up to you. That is not a good situation to be in. That's really scary. You know, they may not, it may not be like they're evidently doing something, but they're definitely interested in you, and they definitely have that capability of taking you down. And, you know, this situation is really freaky. Like if this was a silky shark or sandbar shark, it's a bit different because those are a bit shyer or quite a bit shyer, and they don't really go after. For the most part, they don't really go after larger prey items. But this species being this interested in divers, this is really freaky. This diver is at the surface, which they advised don't be there with this particular species of shark. So yeah. Also, this is really beautiful footage as far as like you can kind of see just the rocking of the ocean waves and the shark just under the surface. We have oceanic white tips off the coast of Virginia. They're not very common as far as I know. Oh, yeah, this one is definitely bumping up against the fin. That's really close, and that's really, really scary. So he's definitely interested in the diver. Definitely, I think I think this shark is assessing the viability of this being a food item because it's making such close passes and because it's interested, like, and actually bumping into the diver, or the divers. I definitely think it's kind of looking for an opening. Ooh, this is freaky. Gorgeous shark, but this is really freaky. This is really dangerous. So, yeah, and look at this line too. Like, this is especially freaky because you don't want to get like tangled up in the line as a diver and get distracted by that and just not be vigilant of what you're doing. That's really, really scary. This is also especially scary where if you have a normal problem underwater, like if you have something going on with your tank, if you have something like water getting into your mask, and you have to take that moment to readjust, may create an opening for the shark. Ooh, good thing nothing happened, but that was really freaky. Really, really freaky stuff. So, yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Do not poke with the sharks with the stick. Yes, agreed. Sharks just feeling a little frisky. Yes, yeah. Like they're definitely in their business. It's just, oh, there we go again. Sorry about that. I should have muted everything. Sorry for the random noise. This is a really pretty individual. The last stage of a Carcharhinus Longimanus shark attack. Now, I don't know how much of this is like played up, like some of these video descriptions, but let's see what's going on. Shark is creeping up on the diver. The diver is clearly unaware. Shark avoids the diver as the diver exhales, so the bubbles might be a deterrent. Many sharks don't like dive bubbles, but here we go. Checking out the fins, avoiding them. We've never really seen footage like this before where a shark is clearly invested in the divers. A lot of sharks are wary of divers. In most of the clips we've seen, a lot of sharks, just shy away from them, want to hide from them, want to swim away from them. They never are. This is markedly different from other clips we've seen on YouTube about sharks. Usually it's just focused on them swimming and being really just unaffected by the divers or unaware of the divers. But this particular species, we're definitely seeing a huge difference. This is the infamous reef. Here we go. No, sorry, never mind. That's not the infamous reef. What was the infamous reef? It's the same. This is the same reef as the first clip. The second clip we saw, Brothers Reef is the infamous reef. So here we go. Alright, so here's Elphinstone Reef. And, we're seeing clips saying this is aggressive. I don't know how much the YouTubers are maybe kind of playing that up. Ooh! Never mind. I take that back. Look at this. Hold on. I'm going to rewind that. Look how quickly that shark closed the distance. Look at this. He's cruising. Boom. He just immediately closed the distance with that diver. That's wild. Never seen a shark do that. Hold on. One more time. Let's slow this down. That's really scary. And again, I'm not into sensationalism. I'm not into really playing up shark attacks, but I'm kind of blown away by how differently this species behaves versus other sharks. Like this one is so much more curious. Like repeatedly we're seeing it's so much more interested. So here we go. Burst of speed. Immediately closes the distance between himself and the diver, getting just inches away from the diver's face. That's remarkable. Oh man. I'm keeping it on slow-mo for now, and we'll go back to normal speed. He is so close. And these are great shots, but this is really dangerous. And again, the wolf analogy is the best analogy. This is the same thing as if you were in, the middle of a snowy forest, and wolves are just making close passes to you. It's the same thing. This is a very dangerous situation to be in. Oh my goodness. Whoops. Sorry about that. Wrong button. We're gonna go back to normal speed. And we'll take a look at the close pass one more time and then just resume the normal footage. That's incredible. That's really wild that it got that close. Right up in that diver's face. Whew! It's kind of interesting. Look how close the pilotfish are to its snout, too. Here it is again, getting close to a diver's face. Really, really close. Oop. Wow, yeah, we've not... This is just very different. This is so different from all the other clips we've seen. Never seen a shark be like this. Man, they are interested. They are so interested. Now, fortunately, with scuba diving, you at least have a lot of gear on you, and that kind of helps limit your area of... Sorry, I keep doing this. Let me mute all of these. I have so many clips. Sorry for these jump scare noises. Like, fortunately with scuba gear, you by nature of the gear, it really limits the area of opportunity greatly. Oh, hey, Roy, what's up? What's up? Oh, hey, Bruce, what's up? Oh my gosh, welcome back, guys. Yes, Bruce, you're absolutely right. These are hand-fed. These sharks. These companies are probably doing that. I like a lot of dive tourism operations. Like they will do that. And even with this species, like they're either hand feeding them or just baiting the water, and it's exciting them and stimulating them. Also, this is a surface marker buoy, by the way. We had to train with that, where it's like if you're in trouble down below, or actually it's not really it's if you're in trouble, or it's a way to mark where you are. So it's like if you're down below and you want people to know where you are, you lift that, you inflate that buoy manually. Actually, you actually take your regulator out, blow air into it, breathe, blow air into it, and then let it go to the surface. Sorry, just to illustrate what I'm talking about. Where did that go? There it is. Yeah, that orange thing is a surface marker buoy. Mine is orange too. I have an orange surface marker buoy. So yeah, so it's a good way to just mark where a diver is below. So, but the other thing too, we saw it in one of these older clips, is that those have lines, and if you're dealing with these sharks and you get tangled up, I mean, a surface marker buoy line, probably not the worst thing in the world, because it's not connected to like the boat or anything, but still, you don't want to get tangled up in a line and have to worry about dealing with the line while you're monitoring where this shark is in relation to you. So, oh, Spencer, what's up? Welcome back. Hello. Oh my gosh, wait, hold on, I gotta catch up on these comments. Oceanic Whitetip, Oh, cool, Bruce. Do you work with salmon? I just got back from a few salmon count contracts. Chum run finished strong. Awesome. Oh, Spencer, thank you so much. I just saw your comment. Hale and I were just looking at your bull shark compendium. That's so cool. Thank you guys. That's awesome. That was the last book I published on bull sharks. Some of the papers do have oceanic whitetip stuff in them, but mostly bull sharks dedicated. So, also, while we have more viewers on the stream, just as a little announcement, Bruce, Spencer, Roy, I let Howard and Midges know earlier, but I proposed to my girlfriend last weekend, and we are now engaged. So she is my fiance, so I'll be referring to her as my fiance from now on. So just want to let you guys know, the language is changing. I'm purposely drinking out of this Virginia Love mug that she got me. And I'm really excited to be covering Oceanic Whitetip Sharks tonight. Especially, it's one of her favorites. She really likes the species. And then also it's just like, I mean, it's just a cool, iconic shark to begin with. So, yeah. So, oh, thanks, Spencer. Thank you. Bruce, I work with the DFO and salmon population construction, mostly in the hatchery, but I also handle counting spawners in creeks nearby. That is so cool. If you don't mind me asking, Bruce, which state are you in again? That is super cool. And very important, too. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. But that's really cool. Mad respect for that. Just because, like, salmon, it's such a vital part of the ecosystem. Like, Pacific Northwest, it's a huge part of, like, orca whale diet. Canada, oh my gosh, it's awesome. Yeah, so, yeah, Canada, Pacific, I think Atlantic has Atlantic salmon also in Canada. But British Columbia, oh my gosh, yeah, there you go. So that's awesome. Vital part of the ecosystem, huge for bears, orcas, and just salmon themselves are just such a beautiful, as far as like their life history and their strategy of just like, you know, spawning upriver, going out into the ocean, you know, like zombie salmon. There's such a unique, complex group, and I know there's a lot of different species like pink salmon, chum, coho salmon. So it's really cool. That's really cool that you do that. Awesome. I didn't know that before. Thank you for sharing. It's super cool. Here's another clip from the Red Sea. Oh, Longimanus meets tiger shark. I'd like to see that. Let's see how real that is. So, because that's kind of cool. That's kind of like the T-Rex meeting the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. So, which is an underrated movie in hindsight. It's an underrated movie. I like Jurassic Park 3. It's like the weird camping trip one. It's such a weird adventure, like a side adventure, but it's not bad. It's okay. It actually has the most accurate dinosaurs, arguably. So, because it has dinosaurs with color. The raptors have feathers. I like Jurassic Park 3. I don't love it, but I like it. You know, and I like Billy. Billy's fine. So, but yeah, let's see. Is there a tiger shark coming? Because the video is promising a tiger shark. We've got this beautiful oceanic whitetip shark in the middle of the open ocean. This is kind of funny. If there's no tiger shark, I would say some of these videos get a little clickbaity, but that's hilarious because you still got beautiful shark footage. So it's such a unique form of clickbait if that's really the case. I like the shadowy shot of the oceanic whitetip. Now this is the least curious. Nope. I was about to say this is the least curious individual we've seen, but now he's making close passes to the cameraman. So never mind. He's interested in the cameraman more. Okay. Keep an eye out. Keep your eye out for a tiger shark, guys. Do we see a tiger at all anywhere? I'm not seeing anything. I see diver bubbles. And I wouldn't be disappointed if I didn't see one, because that confirms that this is like shark clickbait, which is really funny. Like that's such a fascinating niche. So, oh my goodness, my voice went into a weird accent. Fascinating. It's so fascinating. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Oh my god, beautiful, beautiful tiger shark just coming out of nowhere. Look at that. Oh, that's incredible. Two of the most dangerous sharks in the world in the same shot. That is so cool. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's go back. That is so cool. One more time. That is really cool. I might slow down a little bit just to maximize. There we go. I'm really glad that YouTube has slowing down. I wish YouTube could do like reverse footage. There's been a couple of clips, like random junk on YouTube, that I really like the idea of like seeing it in reverse, but they don't have that feature. This is so cool. So it's amazing to see. These are two. They're both very dangerous sharks, but they have two very different looks, very different body plans, and occupy two very different niches. It's amazing to see the tiger shark, clearly much larger shark, but the Oceanic Whitetip, for its size, it handles kind of an impressive variety of prey. So we'll play it one more time, and I'll pause to kind of like illustrate some of the differences. Most of the differences kind of relate to their ecology, where the Oceanic Whitetip Shark, so you have the broad pectoral fins, which kind of suggests, like, a lot of open ocean sharks, have the larger pectoral fins. I can only assume that helps them conserve energy as they travel across the open sea. The tiger shark proportionally doesn't have such large fins. It is interesting seeing that it has such a long body compared to the Oceanic Whitetip. It's awesome to see the size difference, and I know that this Oceanic Whitetip is in the background a little bit more, but tiger sharks do get considerably larger. I think of the four most dangerous sharks, tiger sharks and great white sharks are kind of in the same size class. They get to be like huge animals. Great whites probably edge them out, and then bull sharks and Oceanic Whitetips, they're kind of more like, I mean, they're both big sharks, but they're not in the same size class as tiger sharks and great whites. It's kind of interesting to see that tiger sharks are a coastal species. They're famous for eating anything. They're scavengers. They eat like garbage, carrion, humans. Unfortunately, they will just go after anything. Whereas Oceanic Whitetip sharks, they zone in on things in the open ocean. So they're kind of like the jackals of the sea. Like tiger sharks live in such rich environments as far as like there's so many prey items in shallow coastal waters, and that's where tiger sharks like to live. But the Oceanic Whitetips, they live in the marine equivalent of a desert in the open ocean, so they have to be really efficient. And it's probably part of why they have the large fins, again, to kind of help maximize efficiency as far as like conserving energy as they swim through the open ocean. But Oceanic Whitetips, have to be efficient as they roam this emptiness of the open ocean and zoom in onto a single prey item. So pretty interesting stuff as far as these different strategies as far as like hunting. So they have different tooth types too. Tiger sharks have like the heart-shaped teeth, whereas Oceanic Whitetip sharks have like the big triangles, kind of like great white sharks. Oh, so cool. I'm trying to think what else. Differences in behavior. That was the last thing. I'm going to put them back in frame. Now, both sharks are very dangerous species, but they have a very different set of behaviors dive-wise. So tiger sharks are kind of famous for being chill. Like they're almost like big puppies or big dogs. Like they just kind of cruise around and they'll get close to you, but they're not very active. For the most part, they're like these big, powerful, I wouldn't say passive, but they're famous for kind of being very manageable on dive ecotourism locations. Like tiger sharks kind of drift in, they're given food, and they drift out. They're like, okay, thank you. And for such a large, powerful, dangerous animal, it is a dangerous animal. Behavior-wise, they're kind of more famous for being chill. But Oceanic Whitetip sharks, as we've seen, very different. These are much more wired. The Whitetip sharks are much more interested. They're much more aggressive. They zone in on things much more quickly, and you can't really get away with some of those same techniques if you're doing an ecotourism operation. I feel like bull sharks are kind of in the middle behaviorally, as far as bull sharks are also very bold. But I think there's a lot of famous ecotourism operations with bull sharks that are pretty successful, where the bull sharks are managed pretty well behaviorally. So it's so cool to see these two in the same frame. So, um, man, that's just so cool. So I really appreciate Minja's Jurassic Park 3 is a good movie to yell at the screen too. Oh my gosh. Roy, love that comment. So unpredictable. What the heck? Oh my gosh. So. Oh, hey, that is so cool. Howard's asking, do you see salmon sharks? Bruce says, if I was close to the shore, yes, I normally handle land egg laying sites. It's so cool. That is super, super cool. My job is to count the spawners and mark off bodies. Basic routine is to hook the spent salmon, put them in the water, and check if the eggs are laid. That is so cool. Oh man, so cool. All right. Yeah. Thank you again for sharing. It's so cool, Bruce. So, encounters Oceanic Whitetip Shark. We have two more clips. I definitely want to finish them because it's just like the footage has been amazing, and there's a lot of sharks that are so rare that we've talked about in the stream. I'm really glad we've given them attention, but there's so many sharks that are so rare that there's no footage whatsoever. So I'm just basking in all these really great shots of Oceanic Whitetip sharks, and it's very useful as far as like it's really cool to illustrate. I love the eyes, by the way. It's they do remind me of like raptor eyes a little bit, but it's really useful and really helpful to illustrate behaviorally what these sharks do, what these sharks are capable of. They clearly have shown us they're like at the very least curious and at the most aggressive. And I think you could say aggressive for this species. They've been doing these things, like they've been getting up into divers' faces, they've been making really close passes. It's such an unusual behavior versus other sharks we've seen on the channel. So it's really interesting. These definitely have a behavioral signature that we've not seen before. So gorgeous shark. Really behaviorally and just aesthetically, just a very, very unique species. Nothing else like it. You can easily identify it with the white tips and the rounded fins. There's no other shark that looks like this. And I kind of love, like, if you're in the know, I mean, it's like they kind of have a menacing look a little bit. And I think that's probably more like if you're in the know. I think if people don't know Oceanic Whitetip sharks, they might make the mistake of thinking they look pretty normal. But I think for people who know these sharks' behavior, it's kind of like watching Darth Vader come on screen. It's like, oh, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good. This is like, you're alert. You're at the very least alert in the presence of this. So, and that's not fair. That might be a little bit villainizing, literally, but it's just like these are such a. All sharks demand respect, but this particular species, like, demands respect, like at the risk of your own peril or something like that. And like just at your own peril. Like respect them, or the phrasing would be disrespect them at your own peril. So, all right, last clip. Carcharhinus longimanus. Longimanus means long hands, so that refers to the large pectoral fins. Carcharhinus means sharp nose. So this is in the very large group of sharks. About 30-ish species, I think, are in this genus. But a lot of them have pointed snouts. This one has kind of more of a rounded snout, kind of like silky sharks, a little bit. I was about to say bull sharks, but I think bull sharks kind of more of like a blunt, square snout. So, man, such a cool species. You can tell that one had a hook in its mouth. I appreciate the clips that do show that, where, if you're fishing and you hook a shark, unfortunately, I mean, the hook doesn't go away. I think there is research on biodegradable hooks, but I don't know really how far that's gone, sadly. There was a really big research project that was genius, and it just didn't really go anywhere. But this was in the 10s where they're talking like I think it was Craig O'Connell, who's a really cool scientist. It was a project on, can you make hooks of an alloy that deters sharks? Like, can you make electromagnetic hooks that have a kind of alloy that messes with a shark's electromagnetic field, or sorry, electromagnetic sensory capabilities? Like, is there a particular like metal that just bothers the sharks, and to make sure that they don't get close to a fishing hook? It's a genius concept. I really love that, but to date, I don't think it's really gone anywhere, unfortunately. So, but that was a pretty cool series of studies. The most famous studies on like interfering with a shark's electromagnetic reception has been Craig O'Connell's studies on shark barriers, where he makes these like I think he uses barium, but he makes these like fences that physically allow the shark to come in, but because of the electromagnetic material, like the metal that he's using, and I think it is barium, it bothers the shark's electromagnetic sense, so they actually don't come in. He's tested it on bull sharks successfully. I believe he did successful great white test runs as well. So it's a pretty cool technology. So, all right. Let's see. So, thanks, Spencer. I really appreciate you being here. I just saw you're going to turn in, so thank you so much for being here. And it's great to see you. Great to see you. So, oh, Bruce. I wish I could share some of the footage here. Actually, yeah. If you want, please go ahead. If there's any footage you want to share, please go ahead and submit something to. As far as like, your salmon work, feel free to go ahead and submit anything to the Dr. Jaws website. Like as far as like if you go through the forum, we can connect and I can. If you want, I'd love to share some of the footage, because that would be really cool to see. So Howard, love this comment. To put in perspective, we've reduced our numbers by 98%. We are far greater threat to their species than they pose to ours. Yes. So, on that note, that very ability of oceanic whitetip sharks to hone in on prey in the open ocean and making them like classic, like amazing hunters, that is the same ability that has made them critically endangered. Unfortunately, these sharks will hone in on fishing vessels. So open ocean fishing vessels, the minute they put their hooks in the water in bait, the sharks will hone in on it. And that's been a huge contributor to why they're critically endangered. It's not just that they're being overfished like a lot of sharks, it's that they're looking for these boats because they don't know the difference between like actual like scavengeable prey and baited hooks. And so it's like all sharks are attracted to fishing, but these sharks in particular are actively looking for any kind of prey item. So that's a huge part of why they're not doing so well, unfortunately. So, and you're right, they do need our help. Fortunately, we've started, I would say in the past 10 years, to give oceanic whitetip sharks their due attention. Even Shark Week did a special on them, I would say in the past 10 years, that started to bring awareness to the species, because it has not been as charismatic as like the tiger shark or the bull shark or the great white for a while, and then now it's actually starting to get the attention it deserves, so which is great. I think before we look at some of the summaries, I do want to kind of change the game up a little bit and find that paper that was talking about the this one. It was talking about just the dive ecotourism and how that's kind of interfering with the shark's behavior, and how there's a shark that's actually starting to actively attack divers. So I do want to talk about this, and I want to make sure there's time to talk about this. So here we go. Shark cognition and a human-mediated driver of a spate of shark attacks. It was by Marie Levine, Ralph S. Collier, who actually sounds very familiar, Eric Ritter, Mustafa Fuda, and Vincent Cannibal. So, abstract. 5 unprovoked shark attacks are reported from Sharm-El-Sheikh, Egypt, between 30 November and 5 December 2010. 3 of the 5 attacks are attributed to an oceanic whitetip shark, Carcharhinus longimanus, with a distinctive crescent-shaped notch on the upper lobe of the caudal fin. The shark was observed during the first attack on a snorkeler and photographed underwater during the second shark attack on a swimmer. In a video taken several months prior to the attacks, the same shark is hand-fed underwater by a dive master with additional fish in a pack over his buttock. The shark can be seen swimming behind the dive master while he removed additional fish from his pack. In victims 1, 2, and 5, the shark removed an extensive amount of tissue from the victim's buttock. The three victims also lost a hand or a portion of their forearm, suggesting injuries were inflicted by the shark in addition to associated with food and feedings in human form. The remaining two attacks, cases 3 and 4, were attributable to the short-fin mako shark, Oceanic Whitetip. This was determined from a unique dental pattern on the right side of the upper jaw due to the prior injury. The same misalignment dental pattern was observed in the injuries sustained by victims 3 and 4. We conclude that the short-fin mako shark was responsible for the attacks on victims 3 and 4, and the Oceanic Whitetip shark was the causal species of attacks on victim 1, 2, and 5. So this is pretty interesting. I'm going to continue with this paper. I don't know if there's going to be photographs, so viewer discretion advised if there are. I don't know. I don't think I've ever really seen a shark forensic paper before. I've seen shark attack records before, and some of them are just horrifying. Bull shark attack records, which I used in the bull shark compendium. They're very graphic. I mean, as far as just we have bull sharks in Virginia. They're very uncommon, but I don't like swimming in murky water. I like snorkeling in clear water, but murky water I don't really do it. Just because just reading those attack files, it's easy. It's just too easy to imagine. So, but here we go, and we'll just kind of breeze through this. I'm just going to scan through this. So here we go. The number of shark-human interactions reported annually worldwide in the global shark attack file is insignificant when ocean user group populations are considered. For example, surfing, swimming, diving, kayaking, to note a few. Great point. I really hated... I can't remember when this was. It was it was recent. It was like the summer of shark attacks or something in North Carolina. I really hated that story because it's... When you think about all the times people go to the beach, all along the coast of even just the United States, I mean, it's remarkable how unlikely shark attacks are. It's really unbelievable. So it's not a likely scenario, but let's see. So just talk about shark attacks. Historically, unprovoked shark attacks are random events that are usually distributed sporadically over time and at varied locations. There are those exceptions where multiple shark attacks have occurred at the same location over varying periods of time, from just a few minutes to days or even years. Conditioning sharks to specific feeding locations and/or images was experimentally undertaken in a captive enclosure more than 50 years ago. These experiments demonstrated the ability of sharks to learn and remember specifics that were desirable for obtaining food under the laboratory parameters that were utilized. Subsequently, cognitive ability in sharks is also been described in the more recent past. Okay, so this is really interesting. Also, random side note, I just started watching Death Note for the first time, which I've heard it was really great. It is really great. Highly recommend. I know I'm very late to the party, but it's excellent. And I really wish we can get the voice actor for L to read this, because that'd just be amazing. But, yeah, sorry. Random side note, if you haven't seen Death Note, I highly recommend it. It's really good, and I'm really enjoying it right now. So, anyway. The 5 unprovoked shark attacks occurred over a 6-day period, November 30th to December 5th, along an 8-kilometer stretch of coastline. That's really small, actually. Wow, that's actually really, really small. To put in perspective, for Americans, kilometers to miles, here we go. That's really small, actually. Kilometer to mile... 5 miles, 5-mile coastline. So you can walk 5 miles in a day. It will take a while, but that's really short. Comparison to a car, you can travel that coastline in 5 minutes. So that's a very small area. That's really freaky, actually. 2 pairs of attacks occurred within minutes and at 2 common sites, separated by only 22 hours. The fifth and final attack took place to the south on December 5th, one day after the beaches had been reopened. The short time span between the first 4 attacks strongly suggests that there was either a sudden transient attraction for the sharks, or that constellation environmental factors converged in the area that was a catalyst and conducive to the events. This is a really interesting paper. We identified anomalies that may have triggered the shark attacks, reviewed the chronology of the attack victims' medical records, historical and current data on shark-human interactions at Sharm-El-Sheikh, interviewed witnesses, inspected attack locations, analyzed fisheries data, and hydrographic charts of the area. Based on the above, we've determined 2 species of sharks were involved in the incidents, a short fin mako and an oceanic whitetip shark. We concluded that topography, demographics, and the feeding of small inshore reef fishes by tourists were contributing factors, but recent dumping of sheep carcasses off the resort areas and the hand-feeding sharks were likely triggers for the events. It's freaky. So... Oh! Rory, I just saw this comment. I remember Eric Ritter found I used to watch a documentary he was in. Oh, cool. And also, Mingus, yes, I love the band too. For Death Note, I really love the band. The opening song really cracks me up because it's just like there's something about it that's like I can't describe it, but it's so guttural in almost a silly way. But also, I definitely want to continue this, and we're going to continue this. Again, I usually don't talk about shark attacks. I usually don't want to talk about shark attacks because so many programs do. But this species in particular is a very good one to talk about the subject of shark attack. So I do want to read these case files, and I think it would be very interesting to kind of, get an idea of like what happened and kind of get an idea of like that capability of certain shark species. So I won't read everything out loud, but this is really freaky actually. Midday snorkeling 10 meters from the floating jetty. She stopped and floated on her back. A shark grabbed her outstretched left arm, pulling her beneath the surface. Ooh. I won't read all the details out loud because I want to keep it light. But yikes! Yeah, I won't read these out loud. But if anybody wants to read, I'll zoom in just so you can see on the stream. Ooh. I think for me, I'm very focused on the conditions. So not so much like the actual attack or the wounds, but it's more so like what was happening. So midday snorkeling 10 meters from a floating dock. So and given just how and I will say as a summary, given how many different locations this individual's bitten, this is a deliberate intentional attack. It's very scary. Okay, so I'll keep that one up here. So that was case 1. That I think was an oceanic whitetip. Case 2, only minutes following the attack, less than 100 meters to the south, someone aged 70 was attacked while swimming. She was 10 to 15 meters from shore and 10 meters from a floating jetty in water 10 to 12 meters deep. Now that is really deep. Like that's most people. I kind of feel like don't go out that far. That's really freaky. That's about 33 feet deep. That's 33 feet deep. So that's freaky. Female oceanic whitetip shark severed her foot. Ooh, yeah. Again, I won't read the details out loud. I'm just gonna read the circumstances. So, 46-year-old. Around midday, so 10:55, so around 11 a.m. Snorkeling with his wife and son at the edge of the reef at Ras Nasrani when a shark began circling, coming close. The family rushed towards the shore. The shark followed. Ooh, that's freaky. When he was just 4 meters from the shore, the victim attempted to hit the shark's head with his dive mask and was bitten by the shark. Wow, this is wild. We've never seen a shark like this. Um, okay, and some of these are mako sharks. I know some of these are mako shark attacks, but at 11 o'clock, a 54-year-old was snorkeling at Ras Nasrani. Lifeguards were calling people out of the water following the shark attack on case 3. This individual is 40 meters from shore, 20 meters from jetting water, 15 to 20 meters deep. That's extremely deep when his left arm was grabbed by a shark. Ooh. Dorsal fin of a mako shark. An oceanic whitetip shark service behind their craft. Ooh. Last case, 12 o'clock. So these are all midday. This is very interesting. All midday attacks. A 7-year-old was snorkeling approximately 20 meters from shore when she shouted that she was being attacked by a shark. And this was a fatal attack. Ooh, okay. Okay. We'll just go to the discussion. The inshore areas consist of sandy beaches that slope from 0.5 meters to a shelving coral reef system at depths ranging from 11 to 19 meters, or 18.5 meters, after which the seafloor drops abruptly to 100 meters or more. This is interesting, kind of like a shelf area. And it's interesting that they're talking about oceanic whitetips and mako sharks, because they're both coastal pelagic species. Like, oceanic whitetips are an open ocean species, but they will come close to shore. It's not like a smooth gradient into like a coastal environment, which is something that's kind of like a white shark friendly habitat or a tiger shark or a bull shark friendly habitat. It's interesting that the actual habitat here, it makes sense that there's these open ocean sharks so close. This area varies in depth between 100 and 1,400 meters over relatively short distances. That's incredible. The presence of deep water close to shore and the canyons leading to the depths to shallow water along the beaches allows pelagic species such as oceanic whitetip sharks and mako sharks ready access to the inshore reef and the beach areas. Okay. I think there are wound figures. I don't really want to show those. And here's a map of the attack area. I will post this article if there are wound figures. I'll post this article in the chat. Yeah, is this? Oh no, that's just a shark. Oh, here we go. This is one of the sharks that. This is the one with the crescent mark on its fin. So, I won't. I mean, if we look at some of the Red Sea clips, it'll be interesting to see if this individual is in any of them. So we might have to do that. Okay. It should be noted that overfishing has reduced the number of natural prey available to sharks in the Red Sea, excluding those marine reef sanctuaries where plentiful fish populations exist and attract apex predators. This is really interesting. If victims 3 and 4 were attacked by the same shark, it suggests that the shark, repelled by its initial target, chose a secondary target and pursued it with more determination. Although this behavior has not been documented in mako sharks, similar behavior has previously been recorded in white sharks. Following the removal of both victims from the water, and several minutes later, oceanic whitetip shark was observed in the area. Oh, interesting. Ambient water temperature is directly responsible for the metabolic rate of many shark species. As water temperature increases, so does the metabolic rate of some shark species, which contributes to sharks' necessity to feed more frequently to meet their energy demands. Now, there's something really random that's really interesting about that. I remember I visited a power plant in Florida. It's like the Tampa Bay. It's like TECO, the Tampa Electrical Company, so Tampa Bay area, and the outflow of the power plant heats the water up to unnaturally higher degrees, and in that outflow, it's a happy place for manatees. Manatees love that area, but it's also a place where you have a lot of shark activity, and you can see sharks leaping out of the water. And I've seen a couple do that, and I wonder if that's related to this, where it's like if the water is warmer, the shark's activity level increases, which is really interesting. Like they just get the zoomies, I guess, if you will. And that's especially interesting when you think of cold water sharks, like Greenland sharks, which are very lethargic and slow, or deep water sharks, which also live in a very cold environment. So that's actually pretty interesting to consider. Records provided by National Park South Sinai sector indicate during the week that the attacks occurred, sea surface temperatures are 28 to 29 degrees Celsius, much higher than normal. The elevated sea temperatures created the need for sharks to consume more energy more frequently. This need to feed would have caused sharks to venture into regions close inshore they may not normally utilize for hunting. So that's a warning. That's if anything is a motivator to help fight global warming, that's one of them. It's just wow. Multiple bites, such as those sustained by 4 of the 5 victims, usually involve a strong trigger such as predation or feeding behavior. The sharks' actions suggest that they've been fed by dive operators who often brought sharks close for guests to photograph. So I've heard of ecotourism interfering with a shark's behavior, but I've never heard of this before. And this is actually really disturbing that ecotourism operations directly contributing to shark attack. That's really freaky. I guess I can't say directly. I guess I could say indirectly, but still, I think it's pretty evident that this was a contributor to these attacks. And that's really scary, and that introduces a new ethical question about ecotourism, shark ecotourism and dive ecotourism. I love the idea of shark diving, and I want to do it, but this is a very valid question. Is it posing a risk to communities? And is a good solution maybe creating an ecotourism site that's away from people? Like maybe you meet your dive operator in location A, and then they take you offshore to location B. I don't know. I don't know really what the solution would be, but although shark feeding is prohibited by law, some dive operators continue this illegal practice. We were shown a video in which divers fed the sharks by hand and kept additional food in waist packs or fanny packs located above their buttocks. The wounds sustained by victims 1, 2, and 5, in which their hands were severed and their buttocks removed, suggests the sharks were seeking food from the areas of the body that is associated with prior feeding by divers. That's really scary. This is like feeding bears. This is really scary. The severed forearms sustained by victim 2 could also be associated with the prior hand feedings of the sharks by divers. These cases strongly suggest that the shark responsible had become habituated to being hand-fed in previous encounters of humans. Oh, yes. Of interest, too, is the time of day the events occurred, with all 5 subjects attacked around midday. This could represent a time of day sharks had been fed previously, or as noted by Baldridge in his 1975 global analysis, it could be a result of increased usage by resort guests during midday. You know what? I kind of like the former more. I think that makes a lot of sense because it's very interesting that each attack, most of the attacks are eerily close to 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. So I wonder if that is the time for a dive, which makes sense. It's like you get assemble at the dock at around like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. and then you get on the boat and then you're ready to dive. Peak light conditions, like it's midday. I think that's actually a pretty interesting correlation. I think that's probably more associated with maybe an actual dive operation. Because it just seems so strange, especially when you consider sharks typically are more active at night. They usually are not as active in the daytime. So, yeah. Yes, Howard, definitely agree. Doesn't surprise me, actually. Teaching sharks we are the source of food has dangerous implications. Absolutely agreeing with this. So, Bruce, yes, been happening for years. Scummy dive operators do this and get people hurt. Yes, there's a lot of. By the way, there's a lot of scary. I mean, I should say a lot, but like depending on where you are, there's some really scary dive operations out there where if anybody says you can go diving like the same day, like if you've never been scuba diving before, and they're like, "Oh, it's okay, we'll teach you," that's really dangerous, and don't do that. That happened to my mom when she was younger. She went to Bermuda, and the guy was like, "Oh, hey, like you want to dive? We'll take you diving. Just wear this tank, and we'll go underwater, and you'll be fine." And in hindsight, that's really scary. I think it was like the 80s she did this, 70s or 80s, but like in hindsight, that was extremely dangerous. Like that's you have to have training for diving. You have to have training to know like how to regulate yourself, how to pace yourself, how to make sure you don't develop the bends or like like trauma, like barotraumas, like really like it's a beautiful sport, but it's a very dangerous sport if you do it recklessly. Similarly, there's dive operators that like one of the most horrific things I've ever heard is that they will fill the air next to like I think like a motor oil like it's like they're using air or using an air machine that hasn't been cleaned in decades, and it's like polluted with like motor oil or something like that. It's just that's really scary. So you're breathing in like creepy like just crap. Like you're getting carbon like dioxide poisoning or carbon monoxide poisoning. It's just really, really freaky. So, yeah, always dive with a reputable operator. Like one that has standards, because it just when it goes wrong, it goes really wrong. Yeah, it's just. Ugh. Let's see. Hotel guests commonly feed the inshore reef fish, despite signs along the beachfront cautioning them not to do so. There are numerous videos on public forums on the internet of tourists feeding fish at Sharm-El-Sheikh. There was an anecdotal report that hotel kitchen staff at one of the attack sites routinely provided guests with leftovers to feed the fish. Such practices may also have contributed to the 2 shark attacks at Sharm-El-Sheikh, which occurred on April 4th and October 20th, 2010. The canyons on the reef run from deep water to the shallows and serve as corridors along which both scent trails of food and sharks travel. Oh man, one of the most obvious factors is human population density. 5 million people visit this area. As humans' usage of the sea increases in the area, so does the potential for negative interactions between sharks and humans. However, the possible tipping point bringing the sharks close inshore may have been the recent dumpings of sheep carcasses within 1.9 kilometers of shore by animal transport ships. After the carcasses were discarded from the ships, large and potentially dangerous sharks may have followed the dead animals as they were carried by the currents and led the sharks close to inshore near bathers, snorkelers, and divers. Most of the carcasses were removed from the water within 2 to 3 days, but some drifted ashore on beaches near the shark attack sites. That's really awful. So I guess the moral of the story, and it honestly, like, just the moral of the story in general is don't feed wildlife. This is why you don't feed wildlife. It goes wrong. It goes really, really wrong. Yeah. And also, do not swim near areas where people are fishing. That also that's a big no-no, especially with sharks. So, conclusion. All of the above factors may have contributed to the spate of attacks, although it is not possible to determine the parts played by each. First, there's a seawater corridor whose extreme depth enables pelagic sharks to come in close contact with a dense human population. This unique ocean topography allows pelagic species such as short fin mako oceanic whitetip sharks, which normally range far from shore, to venture within meters of the local beaches. The feeding of fishes by swimmers, freedivers, snorkelers, and scuba divers provides sensory stimuli to sharks utilizing the seawater corridor, attracting them to the shallow inshore waters. Let's see. Marine life attracts visitors. It also attracts sharks. While the tipping point may have been the sheep carcasses, the sudden onset of these attacks, together the areas of the body bitten, strongly suggests... Oh yeah, I'm going to read that completely. While the tipping point may have been the sheep carcasses tossed overboard by passing vessels, the sudden onset of these attacks, together with the area of the body bitten, strongly suggests that the oceanic whitetip shark was the causal species for the attacks on victims 1, 2, and 5, with the short fin mako shark responsible for the attacks on victims 3 and 4. The motivation for these incidents appears to be a result of several artifacts, with food the primary factor. The hand feeding by divers of the Oceanic Whitetip Shark was probably contributory to its assaults. Conditioning of sharks using food as a reward has been previously tested experimentally. The association by sharks of food and humans can have drastic and severe consequences, as noted in these incidents. Although recommendations were made to euthanize... no! Although recommendations were... Why? This is really stupid. I really hate that. Although recommendations were made to euthanize the Oceanic Whitetip Shark responsible for the attacks, the authorities have not taken this action by this writing. I really appreciate that they haven't, because it's not the shark's fault that it's doing this. It's being trained to associate humans with food. I will say, by nature, Oceanic Whitetip Sharks are a dangerous species. They are a dangerous species. Lions are dangerous species. It's the same thing. An Oceanic Whitetip Shark, a lion, or actually let's compare it to a wolf. I like wolves. As a good it's a good comparison actually. An Oceanic Whitetip Shark and a wolf is the same thing. As far as these are dangerous animals. These are not animals to be messing around with. Whatever, right? But people want to see the Oceanic Whitetips. People want to see the wolves, and so these operators are saying, well, let's bait the wolves. Let's bait the whitetips. They're conditioning these animals to associate humans with food. And these are very highly capable animals of, coordinating deliberate attacks. And it's just when you do this, you're training the animal to associate you with food. And so, that's what you're leaving. Like that's the impression you're leaving on them. So is it really the animal's fault? Is it really the wolf or the Oceanic Whitetip's fault? And should it be killed because you are training it to get closer to you for your pretty shot? It's not the shark's fault. So I'm really glad that the authorities did not euthanize that shark. It's awful that these things have happened, but at the same time, it's there's a direct human correlation, and not only just the dive operators, but it's also a comment on just the human world as far as you're dumping sheep carcasses from a ship. Your tourists are feeding the fish, which is an innocent activity in itself, but these are human impacts. These are human contributions that are directly affecting the ecosystem and directly changing how the ecosystem responds and behaves. So it's don't euthanize the shark. The shark's really not the problem. It's you. Maybe stop dumping dead sheep in the water. That's probably a better idea. So it's just wild, man. Oh my gosh. Oh, interesting, Bruce. This is a very interesting comment. I'm going to start this too, actually. Also, I can clarify that as well as if an animal dies in the farm and is allowed to rot, it can't be sent for slaughter, and animal disposal is expensive, so farmers looking to save money dump them. Wow. And that's especially... That's really awful for the obvious implications, but also at the same time, it's... Wait, what link? Hold on. Sorry. Yes, please send me a link to the website. Sorry, I just saw that you're trying to send a link. So, and actually, yeah, let me, speaking of links, sorry, I promised to put this in the chat for this article, so let me put this here too. But the implication of, a farmer, dumping an animal carcass, it's also kind of, and I hope I'm not being naive, but at the same time, I don't understand how you couldn't translate that to compost or just soil enrichment. As far as if you bury the animal, wouldn't that enrich the soil? If you bury an animal that can't be sent for slaughter, I feel I don't know. I feel it would be a good farming practice, because all the nutrients break down and re-energize the soil, rejuvenate that soil. I don't know how expensive that is. I don't know how time consuming that is, but I don't know. It seems so strange that farmers would dump animals when I feel you can kind of reinvest that, if you will. That's a terrible terminology, but you can reinvest, dead animals that you can't send for slaughter. You can reinvest them in enriching your soil. So Interesting. Burning on property can result in rot of not buried far enough. Oh, got you. I see. Okay, interesting. So, yeah, this was a very interesting article, by the way. Let's see if we can find this individual shark. So we're looking for a white-tip shark with the crescent mark on its caudal fin. So, let's see. I'm very curious if we can identify this individual. It's not this one. Actually, let me make absolutely sure. I'm going to bring that article closer. Here we go. We'll bring that right here so we can kind of directly reference. Okay, so he has a very clear crescent mark. I would be very curious to see if we could find him or her. Is this? Let's see who this is. Looks like a her. It looks like this shark is female. Let's see. I'm just kind of buffering through to see if we can get a shot of the caudal fin. Now this is pretty wild. Yeah, this is not it. This is not the same individual. And this is pretty wild because this is, weirdly enough, probably the closest in real life we would ever get to a Jaws scenario. I know Jaws is based on like the Matawan Creek attacks, which were also a sequence of shark attacks in New Jersey. But this is very interesting where it's not just a species, but it's an individual oceanic white-tip shark attributed to these attacks. So it's not this one. Nope, it's not this one. I doubt this individual is in these clips, but I'm curious just to check, just in case. It's not that one either. So we're looking for a crescent-shaped mark on the upper caudal fin. It's kind of like detective work a little bit. It's not this one either. This individual has pretty unique markings near its tail, by the way. These are all very chummy with the divers. Let's see. So, oh, here's that really aggressive shark, that really aggressive individual that closed the distance, but it's not him. Or her. Oh no, him. It's a him. So. No. Yeah, again, I doubt the same shark is here. Because this happened in 2010, and a lot of these clips are late 10s, so it could be that the shark may have died of natural causes, maybe reached its maximum lifespan, may have been killed, euthanized, or fished, but it is interesting checking all these files, so just kind of double checking to see if the individual responsible for shark attack is in some of these clips. Not this one. It's kind of funny. I have this like lovely Skyrim music, and I really should have like the Batman soundtrack, like for like just the detective work. That is one thing I appreciate. Like Warner Brothers does this fun thing where it's uploaded some movie soundtracks on YouTube. Like it's free with ads, but you get the full soundtrack. So the Batman is one of them. Dune is one of them. Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises is one of them. Curiously enough, they don't have The Dark Knight yet. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that Warner Bros. Does that. It's One of the few times I'll maybe say something positive about a studio that was shady about the Hobbit movie. It's not this one. Love the shot with the tiger shark. There we go. Not this one either. We've got one more clip. It's interesting trying to find. I also kind of love that the shark in that, like the shark in this footage, does have an interesting, unique mark. I do kind of love that, where we're going through all these individual oceanic whitetip sharks, and as many sharks as we're seeing, they're not the killer, if you will. It's pretty interesting. Also, we are getting close to 10:30. Since I'm kind of spending so much time on this, it's probably a good time to think about a shark for next week. My only recommendation is maybe the complete opposite of a dangerous shark, like maybe a little cat shark, or yeah, we haven't done a cat shark in a while. There's so many of them, so maybe a little cat shark of some kind might be a good pick for next week. Like a safe, happy, harmless shark might be a good one. Yeah, I guess we don't have her. I guess we don't have the shark that is responsible, and that makes sense. It was so long. I mean, comparatively, that's it's 14 years ago today, and a lot of these clips, they're kind of like late 2010. So that individual may have died. But still, it was worth checking. It would be very interesting if that same individual's in any of these clips. So, but yeah, so this is the shark that was responsible for a couple fatalities. So really freaky, really freaky. I love that comment, Howard. The ocean is vast. The shot with the tiger is really amazing. Yes, I love that clip. It's probably one of my favorites I've seen. Just on the stream, like in general. So, but I think since we have about 30ish minutes left, so we'll think of a shark for next week. But we'll kind of do what we've been like we'll go back to what we usually do in the middle of the stream, which is a species profile. So I'll just kind of skim through each of our classics and see if there's anything that's we haven't learned already about the oceanic whitetip shark. So, and I'll monitor the chat for a recommendation for next week. So, let's see. Depth range is 0 to 1,000 meters, so it just touches the midnight zone. Oceanic deepwater species that sometimes comes close to shore. Epipelagic, usually over water depths of greater than 184 meters, frequently accompanied by remora, Corfina pilotfishes, and tortoises. That's a weird comment. Tortoises? That's really weird. I can't imagine sea turtles spending time with this species. Also, tortoises are land turtles, like tanky land turtles. That's a very strange quote from Fishbase, but oh well. Feeds oceanic bony fishes, threadfins, stingrays, sea turtles, seabirds, gastropods, squid, crustaceans, mammalian carrion, and garbage, including tuna and mahi-mahi. There is pronounced partial segregation by size and sex in some areas. This is an active, almost fearless shark, also charged in human attacks. Probably responsible for many open ocean attacks, often air or sea disasters. Ooh, yeah, we've never seen a shark like this before. Some biological notes from Sharks and Rays, so Andy Merck's website. And I won't spend too much time on identification because it's just unmistakable. The rounded dorsal fin and pectoral fins, the white tips, like, as if it was dipped into paint. There's no other shark that looks like this. There are, there's the white tip reef sharks, but those look so different. Those are squashy couch potato sharks that live on the seabed. These are open ocean, very imposing. That's a better word. I used menacing earlier, but imposing is a much better word for this shark. It's a very imposing looking species. So maximum length around 350 centimeters. That's actually close to a bull shark's maximum length too, but it's unusual for mature oceanic whitetips to exceed 250. So if you compare it to feet, meters to feet, hold on. Meters to feet converter. Okay, convert. Oh, sorry, 3.5. So 11 feet is the maximum size, but more often it's about 8 feet. So big shark, but not huge. It's as it was right. It's not the same size class as tiger sharks. So. Oceanic whitetips have an inquisitive nature that increases their likelihood of being caught. Oceanic whitetip shark was once one of the most abundant pelagic shark species in tropical seas worldwide, but is now extremely rare in most regions. It is estimated the overall population has declined by 98%. Some pockets of relative abundance still exist where protection measures have been put in place. Habitat: oceanic and very rarely coastal near deep water. Reproduction: a viviparous, so live-bearing species. Mating occurs biannually. Diet: because the oceanic whitetip lives in the marine equivalent of a desert, it is an opportunistic predator/scavenger that is also known to consume stingrays, turtles, seabirds, snails, gastropods, and crustaceans. There is an interesting story by a researcher named Bullis from 1961 when he witnessed a group of 1 to 2 meter oceanic whitetip sharks wading at the surface with their mouths open within a school of Spanish sardines that were being hunted by blackfin tuna. Apparently, the sharks were waiting for the tuna to land in their mouths when they leapt from the water in pursuit of the sardines. Wow! So that's actually really incredible. And that sounds far-fetched, but I don't think it is actually. I think that is actually possible. Some sharks have this ability called spy hopping. Dogfish sharks, I should say, smoothhound sharks do this. I forget if dogfish do this, and white sharks do this, where they will be at the surface and they'll use their tails to kind of propel their head above the surface while their body is below the surface. Now, I'm not sure what the advantage is. I'm not sure why dogfish or smoothhounds do this. For white sharks, one of the theories is that it's a way for the shark to ascertain if its prey item, seals, like where they are on the rocks, so that the shark can anticipate the next move. So it's not a very commonly talked about ability, but it is an ability that some sharks possess. So the idea of oceanic whitetips being at the surface with their mouths open, waiting for tuna to come after them, it's not as impossible as it sounds. That is within the realm of possibility. I think it's possible. I will say, if this is something from 1961 that has never been seen again, it could very equally well be just a fisherman's tale, like a far-fetched story. But a lot of things in the ocean are like that, where people have these like stories, and people are like, yeah, right, I'll believe it when I see it, and they're proven wrong, as far as like, this is a real thing. One of my favorites is in Blue Planet 2, where local fishermen talked about sea lions coordinating tuna hunting, where they will drive tuna into a specific bay in the Galapagos Islands to corner them and just close the distance or limit their areas of escape. And Blue Planet crew was like, no way. There's no way they do that. You know, it's just too smart, too challenging. There's no way. And it turns out they do that, and it's one of the best segments in the entire program. So yeah, this I think this is really cool. I do think it's possible. So let me know in the comments what you think. As far as like, do you think oceanic white-tip sharks do this, where they swim at the surface open-mouthed, waiting for fish to jump in, or do you think it's a little too far-fetched? Please let me know in the comments. I am going to say, because I know sharks spy hop, I think yes. I think this is possible. I think it's a good 50-50 thing, but I do think it's possible. So, yeah. Ooh, the spotted cat shark. Yes. Also known as Van Gogh shark? Let's see. That's a great pick, Roy. Yeah, let's definitely do that. Oh, actually, coral cat shark. Oh, can you go and pull the link I sent? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Hold on. Let me go to Dr. Jaws. Oh, actually, yeah. Let me go to drjaws.com. Oh. Hold on. I'm checking on my phone because all my stuff goes directly to like I have an account set up on my phone, so I will get links from that. Let's see. I'm not seeing this. Let me take a look at the website really quick. And I'll check Jaws.net. Contact. Did you use this form, Bruce? Let me put this in the chat. This is the official form. It should connect directly to, I have an email account set up with Dr. Jaws, so, if it's not working tonight, just send it into this form again. I'll try to figure out what's going on with it, and then, I can always, pull it up, next week, so, yeah, because it's not showing up on my end. I have, hold on. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I don't have any restrictions set up or anything. And could you try again in the chat? Or worst case scenario, the Facebook page might work. Actually, if you send me a message on the Dr. Jaws Facebook page, that could work. So, but worst case scenario, if we don't see it tonight, I could definitely pull it up for next week. So, because I would love to see that. So, and I also tinker with. This is the second time my email form is not really quite working on my website platform. So sorry about that. But yeah, please send that my way. Thank you. Yeah, please send it my way on the Facebook page, and I'll take a look at it, and love to show it. So that'd be super cool. Cat sharks. Let me double check what we have, because Howard was first. The coral cat shark. I thought we did that one already, but I'm just going through really quick. And if we haven't, I think we should do coral cat shark, and then if we have spotted cat shark, which I'm going to verify if we did that or not as well. Here we go. Gotta find the Carcharhinus. We've done 40 Carcharhinus already. Wow. We got the Natal shy shark. We got the swell shark, dwarf cat. Oh, I forgot we did a dwarf cat shark. Wow, look at that. God, we did so many. Okay, we did do the coral cat shark. Okay, so I think we're in the clear. Coral cat shark was stream number 76. So let's double check spotted cat shark. Okay, I think spotted cat shark is in the clear. Thank you, Roy. Spotted cat shark. Van Gogh shark. Yeah, I just was verifying if that was a different common name for the species. Also, if you Google search Van Gogh shark, you get amazing results. So, there's a small spotted cat shark, but I thought there was a different one too. But we could do the small spotted cat shark, so we'll do that one. Sweet. Okay, so small spotted cat shark. Carcharhinus canicula, I believe. Yeah. Okay. I think this one lives in the United Kingdom, which is pretty cool. I think it's a popular British Isles dive species. I just want to make absolutely sure. I thought there was like just a normal spotted cat shark, so I just want to make absolutely sure I'm not missing it. Just because there's so many cat sharks in the world, I just want to make absolutely sure. I've got my copy of Sharks of the World here. Small spotted cat shark. So we got him. There's a lizard cat shark. Oh my goodness, that's fun. A salamander cat shark? Wow. Okay. An African spotted cat shark. The puff adder shy shark. The tiger cat shark. That's pretty fun. Oh my goodness. The phallic cat shark? I didn't even know that existed. Wow. Spotted swell shark. The balloon shark. There's quite a few. The jaguar cat shark. That's pretty fun. Okay. The flaccid cat shark. What are these names? The bull shark. Sorry, the bulldog cat shark. Okay. Okay. So this is it. This one. This one. Oh, that's cool. Actually, no, Roy, that's awesome. Sorry, I just saw that. I felt like the oceanic white tip looked like a bull shark crafted by Van Gogh. That is super cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the balloon shark, the flaccid cat shark, and the phallic cat shark. These are apparently real cat shark names. So scientists have a sense of humor. So maybe a future stream will do those. But we're sticking with small spotted cat shark for now. Scyllarenus canicula. So, all right. Let's see. For now, let's finish up tonight with oceanic white, more oceanic whitetip info. Oceanic whitetips are nomadic in nature. In the Atlantic summer, they travel north with the Gulf Stream, occasionally reaching Canadian waters before returning to the tropics. Whoa. Be careful, guys. Wow. They're usually uncomfortable in shallow water. While chumming for oceanics at Cat Island in the Bahamas, as an experiment, we slowly motored into shallow water, but the sharks dropped off one by one as the seafloor rose to meet them. By the time we reached the reef, only 2 oceanics remained, but they soon departed regardless of the amount of bait on offer. Interesting. We already read the dive notes, so we'll kind of keep moving, but such a fascinating species. I think, just so we get it in, because this is such a critically endangered species, let's take a look at the IUCN Red List for the oceanic whitetip. So critically endangered, this is the official account. You can see it's a circumtropical distribution. I do want to zoom in where you can find this in Canada. It looks like, ooh, this is like right on the border of Nova Scotia. Did I get that right? Look at that. So it's just touching Nova Scotia. That's incredible. So oceanic whitetips are in the Gulf of Maine, just touching Nova Scotia. So just saying hi to Canada. Curiously enough, not in Iceland or the UK or like Scandinavia. Very interesting. Okay, but let's see. Why is this shark critically endangered? And I really want to hear this from IUCN Red List. The Oceanic Whitetip Shark, Carcharhinus longimanus, is a large, wide-ranging oceanic species of tropical and temperate seas worldwide, with a preference for surface waters, though it has been reported to depths of 1,000 meters. It has litters of 1 to 15 pups and likely has a biennial reproductive cycle. The species is caught globally as target and bycatch in pelagic large and small-scale longline, purse seine, and gillnet fisheries, and is often retained for the meat and fins unless regulations prohibit retention. The species has a high catchability due to its preference for surface waters and its inquisitive nature. Steep population declines have occurred in all oceans. The Oceanic Whitetip Shark was once one of the most abundant pelagic shark species in tropical seas worldwide, but is now rare in some regions. The global population is estimated to have undergone a reduction of over 98%. This is one of the worst we've ever seen for sharks, at all, with the highest probability of a greater than 80% reduction over 3 generation lengths. Therefore, the Oceanic Whitetip Shark is assessed as critically endangered. So that's really scary. This species, fortunately, is getting a lot of conservation attention, and I do want to read conservation actions. Here we go. Conservation actions in detail. The success of actions agreed through international wildlife and fisheries treaties depends on implementation at the domestic level. For sharks, such follow-up actions have to date been seriously lacking. The Oceanic Whitetip was the first and is still currently the only shark species to be subject to prohibitions on retention, transshipment, storage, and landing by all 4 major regional fishery management organizations, RFMOs, focused on tuna fisheries. The International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas, the Inter-American Tropical Tuna Commission, the Western and Central Pacific Fisheries Commission, and the Indian Ocean Tuna Commission. In 2013, the Oceanic Whitetip Shark was added to Appendix 2 for the Convention of International Trade on Endangered Species, or CITES, which requires exports from CITES parties to be accompanied by permits based on findings that parts are sourced from legal and sustainable fisheries. In 2018, the Oceanic Whitetip Shark was added to Annex 1 of the Convention on Migratory Species, CMS, Memorandum of Understanding for Migratory Sharks, even though the species is not yet included on the CMS appendices. The Memorandum of Understanding is aimed at facilitating regional conservation of listed shark and ray species. To allow recovery, it is recommended that all Oceanic Whitetip Shark retention and landings be prohibited in line with tuna RFMO obligations, at least as long as the global population is classified as critically endangered or endangered. Initiatives to prevent capture, minimize bycatch mortality, promote safe release, and improve catch, including discard reporting, are also urgently needed, as is full implementation of additional commitments agreed through international treaties. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, because this is not looking good for the Oceanic Whitetip Shark. It's already undergone serious reduction, and by nature, its habit is to hone in on food sources. And this has been a very interesting theme for the whole night on this stream, where it's the shark attacks and the shark attack files that we were reading, it's a shark honing in on food sources, and humans are feeding it, and so it's in turn associating humans with food, and it's attacking the humans documented in those records. In the same vein, fishermen, going after tuna or other game fish, commercial fish, they're feeding the shark and training the shark to associate fishing boats with food. So these sharks are honing in on it. They're amazing hunters and amazing predators. They're making a beeline for these boats, and in turn they're getting captured to an alarming degree. And it's it's the shark's boldness and the shark's interest in humans, interest in these food sources, its ability to really be an amazing hunter, and apply its finesse to zoning in as quickly as possible on sources of food. It's that very nature, that very killer instinct, that's actually causing its decline. And it's really sad, and I'm alarmed by how difficult that is, as far as like conserving the species is going to be really difficult because of that ability to be so good at hunting, be so good at finding prey items, even if the prey item, ironically, is dangerous for the shark, i.e., the fishing boat. It's really sad because other sharks, I feel like there's real action to kind of help bring them back. Basking sharks, I think, are a good example where basking sharks are endangered, but because they're not really a target for fishing anymore, and because they go after plankton, there's hope, I think, for recovering basking sharks. They don't really do the same thing that oceanic whitetip sharks do. And the fact that oceanic whitetip sharks are actively seeking out fishing boats, which in turn are, just catching them and killing them incidentally, this one can very likely go extinct in my lifetime, potentially. I hope it doesn't. It's an incredible species, beautiful species, and such a signature as far as sharks go. There's really, I mean, all sharks are unique and everything, but like this one is just, we've never seen a shark behave the way this one is behaving. There's no other shark that looks like this shark. It's a pretty impressive and powerful predator in its own right, so it's just, I really am nervous about how this will fare. I'm really nervous about how oceanic whitetips will do in my lifetime. So, what do you guys think in the comments? I'm going to catch up on these. Rural Roy, 98% is insane. Absolutely. Howard, fishermen often see sharks as competition and kill them indiscriminately. Bruce, conservation measures have been helpful. I don't think they're going to go extinct, but they will take a long time to recover. I really appreciate that. That's actually more hopeful than what I just said. So I really appreciate that. I'm going to start that. Howard, they have followed ships for hundreds of years as a rare food source on the open ocean. Absolutely. So, Howard, great comment. I'm going to start this too. It would be interesting to see if they visit Canada more frequently due to global warming. That's a really great comment, and it's very alarming how possible that actually is. When even 10 years ago, there's been a lot of studies in both poles about whales shifting their migration habit, or like their food migration habits, because their prey item krill, which is temperature sensitive, is shifting closer and closer to the poles because that's the only area where the water could be cold enough for them, so the whales in turn follow them. So similarly, for oceanic whitetips, it will be interesting to see as sea level temperature rises, will their range expand northward. That is happening with bull sharks in the mid-Atlantic, where bull sharks are becoming more common in North Carolina. They're becoming more common in Virginia. So it is going to be interesting to see with oceanic whitetips, will something similar happen as far as Canada is concerned. So let's see. Bruce sent the link on Facebook. Let me go ahead and check that. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to switch my profile. I've got my private profile. Oh, I think it might have come through because I got 4 notifications. Okay, got a message. Okay, awesome. Alright. So now I gotta get this over, save video. Okay, I do see it. This is really great. How do I get this over? Okay, so I've got the video. This is cool. I'm sorry, I know I'm totally like derailing everything. I'm just I'm trying to see if I can get this on the big screen. My brother can my little brother, he's a whiz at just, oh my gosh, I'm getting old. I said whiz. Oh no, I just said whiz. Like, oh, you should just hold up to the phone to the camera. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so this is really cool. So this is, alright, I don't know if you could see this, but this is the clip that You sent. Oh man, I feel so old right now. So I see this is a salmon right here. Is this what species of salmon is this? That's a really beautiful clip, actually. I wish I could have a. I'll see if I could get a higher quality version of this for next week. But that's really cool. So if you don't mind, I'll stream. I'll stream that next week. But what species of salmon is that? I'm also cracking up that I just said whiz. You know, like that reminds me. Star Wars had that. What was it? Phantom Menace. They were like, "That's so wizard, Annie." Oh my gosh. Anyway, but thank you for sharing that. I'll see if I could get a higher quality footage to share next week because that's really really cool. I love anything that's like marine conservation related, and salmon again are just a really really important group. We talked about grizzlies and orcas. Howard brought up a good point. Salmon sharks. It is a direct food source for salmon sharks. So. And also, Bruce, tying it back to oceanic whitetips, I really do appreciate your outlook as far as like we can bring this back. I hope we can. Usually, I'm very optimistic about different shark species that are have been pushed this far. This one, because of its nature, it freaks me out. Just as far as like, I really hope we can save it. I am glad. A chum female, very cool. I am glad that in pop culture, as far as Shark Week and everything, oceanic whitetips are starting, and actually have started, I would say this has been a couple years now, they have started to come more into the forefront. And it's one of the few positives I have given Shark Week as far as, still a lot of crap on there, but their focus on oceanic whitetips, I forget which year they did that, but I really appreciated them doing that because it was such an important species. As far as like conservation, even then, it's been critically endangered for a very long time. So, but yeah, so hoping for the best. I think we'll wrap up with a quick glance at the Florida Museum of Natural History because it has a pretty good brief profile, and then we'll call it for the night. But let's see. Oceanic whitetip sharks are one of the more dangerous sharks to humans. They are known to have attacked survivors of ship and plane wrecks at sea, and are suspected to be responsible for several unrecorded human fatalities. The oceanic whitetip is a primary species implicated in shark bites surrounding the sinking of the USS Indianapolis in 1945, also known as the worst shark attack in history. I forgot. I should not have forgotten. Florida Museum of Natural History is associated with the International Shark Attack File. So that's pretty incredible to see that this species is associated with the quote-unquote worst shark attack in history in the form of the USS Indianapolis. So, and I actually didn't realize that the USS Indianapolis had that notoriety. So, but common names. The oceanic whitetip shark, the Nagano shark, which I've not heard of. It's a pretty cool name, actually. The whitetip shark, the whitetip whaler. Afrikaans is Opisi witipai. Interesting. Japanese Yogore. Malay Ikanyu. Samoan Apoapo. Yeah. It's a lot of cool names, and it's a cosmopolitan species, so a lot of interesting names here. Shark fishers use long-line drift nets set in the open ocean to catch oceanic whitetip sharks. Tuna fishermen dislike the oceanic whitetip sharks as they frequently follow tuna boats and damage or consume the catch. Interesting. So that's another layer of, just how often they're running into people and just, man. That's another layer. It's really sad because the sharks are just going after the food, and it's not just that they're being caught by fishermen, but the fishermen don't want them, because they're disrupting their livelihood too. And it's just like, oh wow, it's just sad because it's just such waste. It's like, the sharks are being killed, and it's not like the fishermen are at least harvesting them in this situation. It's that the sharks are being a nuisance to the fishermen and are being killed for it. It's just really really rough. Although primarily found offshore, the oceanic whitetip shark is considered potentially dangerous to humans. It is often the first species seen in water surrounding mid-ocean disasters. During both World Wars, the oceanic whitetip shark was a major concern for torpedoed boats and drowned planes. I didn't realize both World Wars were associated with that. Oh, Howard, this is, I think, what you were talking about at the top of the stream. When the Nova Scotia steamship was sunk by torpedoes from a German submarine off the coast of South Africa, close to 1,000 men were on board. However, only 192 survived. It is believed that many of the fatalities were victims of the oceanic whitetip shark in what eyewitnesses' accounts described as a feeding frenzy. That is horrifying. In encounters with divers, oceanic whitetip sharks show little fear and often quite persistent, circling around divers in the water. Due to the shark's opportunistic feeding behavior, size, and unpredictability around divers, this species should be treated with extreme caution. There are recorded cases in which potential attacks may have been averted by quick action on the part of divers who have struck the sharks on the snout to dissuade curiosity. I wonder if we could see this before we go tonight. View shark attack species on the world map. Or shark attack by species. Let's do, here we go, the oceanic whitetip. Now that's a little eerie. You can see that it's not many, but this species is infamous for being underreported. So we've got the Red Sea, including the ones from the case files that we read. So here are the Red Sea attacks. We've got, is that, where's this? Is that Puerto Rico? What is Jamaica? Okay, yeah, I think it's around Puerto Rico, Lesser Antilles, Bermuda right here, South Pacific, Hawaii here. Yeah. Wow. That's near Puerto Rico. Sorry about that. I wanted to confirm where this attack was. Yeah, that's really freaky. We talked about conservation, steep declines. Though previously considered one of the top 3 most abundant oceanic sharks, along with the blue shark and silky shark, is now the only occasionally reported. The shark is primarily solitary, but also forms aggregations that have been observed in feeding frenzies when a food source is present. It is a slow swimmer, showing equivalent activity during both daytime and nighttime hours. Reports have described swimming behavior in open waters at or near the surface of the water as moving slowly with the huge pectoral fins spread widely. It has also been observed swimming in association with short-fin pilot whales in Hawaii. That's very interesting. Although the reason for such behavior is unknown, it is likely to be food-related. Pilot whales are efficient at locating squid, upon which the oceanic whitetip sharks also feed. That's really cool. I didn't realize that they kind of work together. You know, that's pretty amazing, actually. And I'm actually really excited about that personally because we have pilot whales in Virginia, and I've seen some before. So next time I see them, I'm gonna look out, see if there's potentially an oceanic whitetip shark nearby, because we do have the species here. And here's the teeth. I know we haven't really talked about them that much, but this is what I mean. Like, at first glance, the top teeth look almost, I mean, when you get to the forward edge of the jaw, like white shark teeth. At Vim's, I have myself mistaken oceanic whitetip teeth for great white teeth, because I was at the beginning of my shark career, so I was just learning about the nuances between the tooth type. I had no idea that the jaws I was looking at were actually oceanic whitetip jaws. The teeth are most easily confused with bull shark and dusky shark, both which are broadly triangular and strongly serrated. Feeding behavior reported for the shark includes binding to schools of bony fishes, including yellowfin and big-eyed tuna. It's also been observed eating garbage. if other shark species encounter the oceanic whitetip shark during feeding activities, the oceanic whitetip is usually dominant, which makes sense. We've seen with the divers, it's a very aggressive, inquisitive shark, so it makes sense that with other shark species, it's a dominant species. Okay, I think that's it for tonight. So let's end on. I do want to have a nice long clip. And we'll kind of slow it down as an outro. Okay. Wow. So, RMS Nova Scotia, just saw your comment, Howard. About the same as the Indianapolis, but about 700. Or Italian prisoners of war. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Nice dentition, lower impaling, upper cutting and slashing. Yeah. It's a formidable predator by every definition. Behaviorally, physiologically, it's just, it is a true hunter. And it's really kind of amazing. It's again, it's so good at that it's unfortunately in this day and age to its own detriment in this human world. So it's just yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. This was a really great species to cover for tonight. And I'm really I'm trying to find the right word for it. Like, not humbled, I guess. I'm just kind of more like I was taken aback in a good way, in a very good way, by just how different this shark is behaviorally. I really love the footage that we reviewed tonight. I love seeing, just how this is such a different animal as far as like getting right up and close and personal with divers. And I'm really glad that we kind of unpacked how that interrelates with shark attack, how it interrelates with just the species drive, and how unfortunately that drive, as honed as it is and as efficient and as like successful as it is, has really put it in a very dangerous conservation position, and it's a species that really needs our help. So I'm really glad we put some attention on it. I'm glad we got to talk about it. I'm glad we got to explore it in a lot of different details. So man, super cool shark all around. Demands a lot of respect. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And I'm excited next week for the small spotted cat shark. And yeah, tune in. And we're almost there. We're almost hit 100 episodes. So I'm really, really excited, guys. It's perfect time for the holiday season, too. So, but have a great week. Cheers. And I'll see you next week for the small spotted cat shark. Take care, guys. Bye.